Hello again YouTube, it's Darren here. Today what I want to do is a short review, and what happened was a few weeks ago I was contacted through YouTube by a chap called Brian Apodaca, and I hope I've pronounced that right, and Brian, apologies if I haven't. And Brian contacted me to let me know that he had produced his own independent comic in conjunction with Benny Jordan, and Brian asked me if he sent me a copy, if I'd consider doing a review for him on YouTube. So I replied and said I'd be more than happy to. Anyway, a few days ago I received a package from the United States, and it contained the first two issues of this comic, and here it is. This is issue number 1, and it's Zombie Outlaw. As I said, the writer is Brian Apodaca, and Benny Jordan does the artwork. What I will say is when I first took the issues out of the bag, and here's issue number 2, my first impression just from looking at the covers was, and also the actual feel of the comic, was just how professional it is. It really wouldn't be out of place on the shelves of my local comic shop, and the quality of the cover and the paper stock is really very good, and the guys really ought to be given credit for the quality. I mean, it just looks really good. As far as the story is concerned, it centres on 3 main characters. There's Matt Naismith, who is a college sophomore at Irvine State University, which, not being familiar with American colleges, I assume is a fictional college. And his friend is Will Simers, and Will, as well as being Matt's friend, is also kind of his, how would you describe it, his kind of advisor throughout his college life. So whenever Will needs advice, whenever Matt needs advice, he'll go to Will, and he'll sort of seek him out in an advisory capacity. And then the third character is Katie Delaney, who is kind of the wannabe love interest, because Matt is absolutely besotted with Katie, and she is Matt's lab partner for when they're doing their practical work at college. So basically, when issue 1 begins, Matt, like I said, is absolutely besotted with KT, and he wants to ask her out, but he's a bit nervous about doing it, and he's not quite sure how he should approach this. So he consults with Will, and hopes to get his advice on this. And Will's response is that he'll be quite happy to give Matt some advice and help with this, but in return he wants some help from Matt, and he's in the process of doing his thesis for college, and he's doing his research into this character who is introduced at the very beginning of the book, who is like a legendary local character, and basically what he does, he enlists Matt to help him steal the keys from the librarian, so that they can go down into the very bowels of the college, and they come across this old hat that belonged to this character, and he's actually from 1872, so from the late 19th century, and it's like legend that this is the hat that belonged to this character. And the action really begins when Will takes the hat and puts it on, and I won't tell you exactly what happens, but basically bedlam ensues, and at the end of the issue we meet another character who gets embroiled in what's going on. I can't remember the name of this character. No, sorry, I'm not sure of his name, but this character is absolutely fantastic because he actually, instead of wielding weapons, he has pencils between all his fingers, and he looks just like the Wolverine. I'll just show you, it looks absolutely brilliant. There it is. Hope you can see that. So that's the basic premise of the story. And it's good. It's a good story. I mean, I've got two criticisms really of the first issue, and that is, in terms of plot, it was a very quick read because there's not a lot of speech, so it was very quick to read. And the other thing that I didn't like, even though I did like the artwork in general, it's a very kind of exaggerated cartoon style of art. But the one thing that I didn't like is that every character seems to have these really huge forearms, and I did find it a little bit off-putting. But really, apart from that, that's the only criticism I've got. And when it came on to issue 2, Benny, the artist, he did a bit of an introduction to it, and they'd obviously solicited quite a lot of sort of advice from people on where people might suggest they'd gone wrong in issue 1 or ways that they could improve it. And I'm not sure whether the huge forearms was something that people had mentioned, because even though they're still they are still around in issue 2, it's not quite as exaggerated. So when I was reading issue 2, my eye wasn't constantly being drawn by that, which was a good thing. And also, just on issue 2, what I would say was, even though I like the look of issue 1, in some ways, sorry, I was holding up the wrong one there. There's issue 2, and as you can see, the forearms are considerably smaller. What I will say was that the general look of issue 2 was just a lot better, and I can't really put my finger on what it is, but it just looks a lot better. Like I say, even though I thoroughly enjoyed reading issue 1, and I did enjoy the artwork. So there we are. What I'll do is, in the space down below, I'll put some links to where you can get some more information from about Zombie Outlaw. And I do know that it is available digitally as well. So if you didn't want to go to the expense of getting the physical copies shipped from the States, you do have the option of getting the digital copies. But like I say, I'll put all the information down below, and if you're a Twitter user, Brian goes by the name of Captain Midnight, that's C-A-P-N Midnight, so you can look him up on Twitter. But like I say, I'll put all the contact details down below, and I would, if you're looking for something a bit different that is completely independent, then I would advise you to give Zombie Outlaw a read. It's a really fun read. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. As usual, if you've enjoyed this, please feel free to like, comment or subscribe. In the next day or two, I'm going to put up my haul for this week. So until then, I'll catch you later, guys. Thanks for watching.